How's it going, everybody? This is Eric. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Winged Eagle belt review made by Emisad Ali at Great Custom Belts on Facebook. This was my first ever purchase experience. I do have another belt that I won from a different belt group overseas, but I did that one through a raffle, and this one was my very first ever order. And so I will be going over what I experienced, things that you should know going in, and of course, what you all came to see is the quality and if it's worth it. So let's get right to it. So this is a CNC 5.5 millimeter thick belt. It's 24 karat gold plated on fully upgraded hand tooled leather with burnished and sealed edges. The snaps are also 24 gold plated as well. Immediately upon unboxing the belt, you can see just how beautiful it looks. Just absolutely stunning. The quality of the belt is top notch all the way around. Emisad Ali knocked it out of the park. Videos and photos cannot do it any justice, believe me. It's so crisp and clean. The leather is so good. It's what you'd imagine a strap to look and feel like. Just amazing quality. It flaps and it flops just like it should. I thought my other belt was good, but this belt is far superior in quality. The tooling all around the belt is fantastic, as well as his tooling around the WWF logo. He did such a phenomenal job on everything, and I couldn't have been more happier. As you can see, the belt has a really nice curve to it. My hand fits underneath it pretty easily. I don't know how ring accurate that is, but that's just something to consider when purchasing. Unfortunately, the back of the belt isn't covered. I just assumed he covered all of his Winged Eagle belts, but that's something I should have told him that I wanted, considering I was going for ring accuracy with this belt. When my belt was being made, I closely examined some of his other Winged Eagle belts to compare to mine, and I stumbled upon something very interesting. I noticed Emisad Ali uses two versions of the Winged Eagle designs as shown in this picture here. You can see that where the WWF logo is, the location of the logo slightly differs between both belts, with the belt on the left having the logo more spaced up compared to the one on the right, which has it placed a little more down. When you compare it to the reference photos, such as this one here, the one on the right seems to be the more accurate of the two. And as you can see, my belt has the design on the left that has the WWF logo more spaced out compared to the one on the right. I wasn't given any options, and I only noticed these differences while looking more closely at some of his other work. Had I done my due diligence, I would have opted for the design on the right instead. If you take a closer look at the design on the right, you can see that it has holes for where the world banner relief piece would go. My assumption is that he uses the spaced out design for people who don't want the relief piece, and the other is for those that do. Unfortunately, mine does not have the relief piece, as I initially decided not to have it on my belt early on. I didn't know that there was a relief piece there. So when I was seeing some belts with it and some belts without it, I just assumed that that was a customization thing. But after doing more research, I found out that it was in fact a relief piece and that it's about 2 millimeters thick. I ended up changing my mind and insisted that he put it on, but I think he may have overlooked it in our messages, which is understandable as I changed my mind on quite a few occasions. So it's not a huge deal, and that's more on me. Another thing to note is that this belt feels big. I know Emisad Ali is known for his oversized Winged Eagle belts, so I asked for a standard, more ring accurate size, but this thing still feels massive. I have no other Winged Eagle belts to compare it to, but compared to my Big Eagle belt, it seems just as big. Maybe you guys can let me know if it still looks oversized a bit in the comments. My guess is that it probably still is, and here's why. The bars seem to be a little bit undersized when I compare it to the reference photos. At first, I thought maybe he's just making them small, but perhaps the plates need to be scaled down a little bit more true to size to accurately fit the bars. That's my theory, but who knows. You can also notice the difference in colors between the two belts. On camera, there's probably not a huge difference, but in person, the Winged Eagle is like a real yellow gold compared to the standard gold plating on the Big Eagle, and stands out significantly more. Some of you may or may not like the 24 gold plating color, but that's just going to come down to personal preference. Either way, it's such a beautiful belt no matter what color. So let's talk about the communication aspect in regard to purchasing through Great Custom Belts and Emisad Ali. Anytime I reached out to Emisad Ali and his middlemen, they were extremely pleasant to talk to, very understanding, and they had great customer service and great customer support. Everyone was always very communicative and very quick to respond to any messages. I'll admit I was probably not the best customer to deal with in the beginning, as I was constantly changing how I wanted the belt to be. After placing my order, I continued to do more research about the Winged Eagle. I began to learn about the many iterations of the Winged Eagle, everything from different leather cuts, different snap box variations, or the broken wingtip. Just so many different things that I never knew about until actually doing research and looking up more about the Winged Eagle belt. I came to the conclusion that I wanted the last Winged Eagle variation, the one that Bret Hart debuted in 1997 and was held last by Stone Cold Steve Austin prior to the debut of the Big Eagle belt. Even with all my constant changes throughout the whole process, Muhammad Ali never lashed out, and he was very respectful in agreeing to all my specifications. I can see how that indecisiveness and constant changing of the mind could be frustrating for a belt maker, but Muhammad Ali was just awesome. So thank you very much, Muhammad Ali. I will be better next time, I promise. I will come more prepared, and I will know exactly and precisely what I want the next time I make my order. Now that we got all the pros and positive things out the way, there were two aspects of the waiting period that stuck out to me in a negative way. This is what I experienced, and this doesn't necessarily mean you will have the same experience if you place an order in the future or if you have already placed an order with Muhammad Ali. I waited a little over 4 months to get my belt. And while that's an amazing time frame to get your belt, these two things that I noticed made me a tad bit frustrated. When you place an order, there is an obvious understanding that there are people ahead of you who are waiting for their belts, as well as people who put in orders after you. And when you see other Winged Eagle belts being made simply for stock purposes, it can get quite frustrating when you think about the time frame of your belt. And naturally you think to yourself that your belt could have been made instead of those stock belts. And those stock belts are essentially leapfrogging you and being available for anybody. I personally believe that stock belts should not take priority over customers' belts, especially customers who have already paid in full for their belts and they are simply waiting for their belt just to enter the production stage. Another thing that was frustrating to see was seeing new members of the group place orders and receiving their belts within a month of placing those orders, while I was waiting for mine just to enter the production stage. And one of those orders was a Winged Eagle belt. So, if you can imagine being a customer who placed an order somewhere and waiting for so long only to see somebody else come place an order for that same product, and then them getting that product in a relatively quick time frame while you're still waiting on yours. I don't know how a new order can get done before an old order, but it was quite frustrating to see, and I just think that those mistakes shouldn't happen. And I'm not saying it was done intentionally or anything like that. Who knows, my order could have just been lost in the mix, but nonetheless, it's frustrating to see that. And you just hope that when you place an order, that no orders that were placed after you are done before yours, especially when your order was placed months in advance. Again, it could have been due to maybe, Muhammad Ali had some stock plates or something sitting there that happened to be perfect for an order that he just received. So I get stuff like that, but nonetheless, it can be frustrating to see, orders being taken care of before yours. Again, I understand the belt making process, and I understand that it takes a bit of time and patience. And for a lot of other belt makers out there, you're waiting sometimes 2 years, if not longer. And the difference between that is, those are long waits. And in this case, you're seeing Muhammad Ali and his team pump out belts left and right in a relatively quick manner. And so those are the expectations that are set when you're seeing somebody place an order and receiving their belt within a couple months. So I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not complaining about the time frame that it takes to make a belt, but rather the comparison of my time frame compared to somebody who had recently put an order and has already received theirs well before mine. So with all that being said, will this prevent me from purchasing another belt from Great Custom Belts and Muhammad Ali? Absolutely not. His quality is amazing. His prices are great. His team of moderators and middlemen over there on the Facebook group are just awesome. And I have faith and trust in the group going forward as they continue to strive for greater purchasing experiences. Shout out to Tyler and Mr. Amadeus Williams, who I don't want to butcher your first name, but you guys have been awesome. Very communicative through the whole process. Very assuring about everything that was going on. And I just want to tell you guys, I appreciate you guys, and you guys are awesome, and thanks for doing what you guys do. I think that's what separates you guys from a lot of the other guys out there, especially when it comes to customer service. And I think that's one of the things that will always continue to get better, especially with these gentlemen paving the way and doing what they do. So thank you. This is my first belt purchasing experience, and I've learned a lot, and I hope you guys have learned a lot, not just about Great Custom Belts, but about the belt purchasing experience in general, as I'm sure this can apply to a lot of the makers out there. So if you want a specific belt style, iteration, or variation, do your homework, do your research, figure out exactly what you want. Use reference photos, YouTube, ask other group members or any other online community for help. There are tons of resources out there for you to use. Make the belt exactly how you want it to be, because at the end of the day, you're the one paying for it, and it'll be your happiness when it's all said and done. With how it comes out. Also, don't be afraid to ask for updates. I'm the type of person who doesn't like bugging people, especially when I know they have a ton of other stuff that they're doing. But it's your belt, it's your money. Don't be afraid to ask for updates every month or so. That way you don't get lost in the mix like I did. Everybody at Great Custom Belts was awesome, and they responded in a timely manner. Just make sure that you're in the loop and you stay in the loop as much as you can. Most importantly, just be patient. As the belt making process can take some time, even though it appears to me that Masad Ali and his team can knock out belts like nobody's business, but that doesn't mean that you should rush them or you should rush any other belt maker. You want your belt to look nice, so you don't want to rush the process. So I hope you guys enjoy this review. I hope that you learned something from it. If you want to know more about prices, message Masad Ali on Facebook, as prices tend to vary. Check out his work and put it in order if you like what you see. You won't regret it. Well, that's it for this review. Hope you guys liked it. Feel free to ask me any questions. Thanks.